Shane, what did I tell you about leaving your shoes in the middle of the hallway? My mom almost tripped over them today. I swear you get stupider every day. I didn't leave my shoes in the hallway. I put them on the shoe rack, like always. I don't appreciate you accusing me of something I haven't done, especially in such a harsh way. That's not true at all. I know you left them there, because my mom told me you did. Your mom would say anything if it meant getting me in trouble. That woman hates me. That woman is my mom, and you need to show her some respect. I'll show her respect when she starts showing me some. What do you even mean by that? What do I mean? We've let her live with us ever since Dad passed, and she needed people around to help her out. I didn't mind. But since she moved in, you've been so hostile toward her. You two are always ganging up on me, making me feel like I'm the bad guy. She constantly mutters things about me when you're not here. Considering I've allowed her to stay in our home, the least she could do is be civil. My mom has been nothing but cordial to you. She always makes sure to speak to you whenever she sees you, and let's not forget she does more housework than you. That's not true. Oh, please. She's told me how you leave a mess everywhere. How you don't clean the dishes, don't do laundry, and definitely don't pick up your trash. I've seen it myself. Just the other day, I came home and saw empty beer cans all over the living room. My mom doesn't drink beer, so it had to be you. I had to clean up after you like you're a child. Julie, I swear that wasn't me. I don't even drink during the day, and I barely drink at all anymore. So, what? Are you saying a ghost left them there? Maybe your mom did it. She could have set it up to make me look bad. I wouldn't put it past her. Are you seriously accusing my mom of that? You really think she cares enough about you to bother? Wow. Thanks. Great to know your mom doesn't even care about me enough to dislike me. That feels fantastic. Well, if you weren't such a loser, maybe she'd actually care about you. I'm not a loser. Oh, please. You've been unemployed for how long now? I'm the one paying all the bills, and I'm fine with helping my mom. She's been through a lot. But you? It's pathetic that you haven't found another job yet. I'm sick of carrying all the financial weight. Whoa! This is the first time I'm hearing this from you. Why didn't you talk to me sooner? I told you. If my unemployment starts to bother you, we need to have a conversation about it. We can figure things out together. I shouldn't have to have that conversation. You're an adult. You should already have a job and be helping with the bills, not relying on me while you sit around. And let's not forget, you got yourself fired. It's not like I got myself fired on purpose. The company made the situation unbearable. You didn't need to make a huge deal out of such a small issue. Julie, they were breaking serious health and safety regulations. They were putting not just my life, but my co-workers' lives at risk. I couldn't just ignore that. So, you went over your manager's head and involved lawyers? Really? Yes, because when I tried to talk to my managers, they ignored me. They told me to either get back to work or leave. I had no choice but to escalate things. The dialogue evolves into a heated exchange, uncovering deeper issues in their relationship. What starts as a seemingly trivial complaint about shoes turns into a confrontation about unresolved grievances. Shane feeling unjustly targeted and disrespected, and Julie expressing pent-up frustration about his lack of employment. Her accusations about Shane's laziness, combined with his feelings of being undermined by her and her mother, reveal the couple's growing resentment and miscommunication. Shane feels cornered, while Julie feels overwhelmed by both financial and emotional burdens, further intensifying their conflict. I wasn't about to stick around in a place that would rather I put my life at risk, potentially causing myself serious harm, or worse, simply to save a few dollars on safety equipment. It's like they didn't care if I got hurt as long as they cut costs. Unless you're suggesting you'd have preferred I stayed there and died on the job. Well, you did have life insurance. Honestly, that would have been more than what you're bringing into the house right now. Are you serious? You're actually saying you'd rather I have died than lost my job? That's messed up. Oh, come on. You're twisting my words around. I never said that, and you know it. I just meant it would be nice if you were still earning some money. No need to get so worked up over this. Sure, that's totally what you meant. You know what? I'm going to go before I say something I'll regret later. I've got things to do, and right now, I need to step away from this conversation. Don't be so dramatic. I didn't say anything that bad. You'd feel the same way if the roles were reversed. No, I really wouldn't. I would never wish for my wife to have a fatal accident at work just so I could get her life insurance. That wouldn't even cross my mind. But maybe that's just because I'm a better person than you. You're not better than me. Not by a long shot. I'm the one earning money here. So that makes me better than you, right? Money isn't everything, you know. Anyway, I'm done with this. I'm not going to respond to any more texts for a while. We'll talk at home. Fine. If that's how you want to be, then so be it. I'll see you at home. Later that day, a new message comes in. Julie, dear, I know you're probably busy, but I couldn't just sit by and say nothing. Mom, what's going on? Is everything okay? Are you okay? Oh yes, sweetheart, I'm fine. But I can't say the same for you and Shane. What do you mean by that? Well, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I think Shane is having an affair. No, that can't be true. Shane? Really? He's too much of a loser for any other woman to be interested in him. What makes you think he's cheating? A young woman came by the house earlier today, and then Shane left with her. They got in the same car and drove off together. I hate to say it, but it looked pretty suspicious. But if you're sure nothing's going on, I'll leave it alone. Wait a second. He left with another woman? What does she look like? She was young, probably in her 20s. She was wearing a black skirt and a white top, and she had brown hair. She wasn't. Well, let's just say she wasn't unpleasant to look at. So, she was pretty? That's all I need to know. Shane's not going to know what hit him when I'm through with him. Julie, now furious, immediately sends a message to Shane. Shane, you better answer me right now. I know what you've been doing behind my back. How dare you cheat on me with some random woman? Amy, what are you talking about now? Are you trying to accuse me of something else that I haven't done? Shane responds, clearly confused. I'm accusing you of something I know you've done. You can't deny it. I saw you leaving with that woman, and I know you're sneaking around, cheating on my daughter. I told her you were no good from the start, and I was right. You're nothing but a pathetic, good-for-nothing loser who doesn't deserve someone like her. Are you quite done? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to say this once, and only once. So listen carefully. I am not, and would never, cheat on Julie. Not now, not ever. Oh, please. You're just saying that because you got caught. You're so pathetic that you can't even manage to hide your affair properly. But it doesn't matter. Now that we have proof, my daughter can take you to court and get everything you're worth. I know it's not much because, well, you're a loser, but I'll make sure you're left with nothing. Asterisk, not even the clothes on your back star. By the time we're done with you, you'll be out on the streets with not a penny to your name. Are you serious right now? You're going to try to ruin my life over something that isn't even true? This is ridiculous. Ridiculous? No. What's ridiculous is that my daughter ever gave you the time of day. I've been looking for a reason to get rid of you, and now I've got one. She'll finally be free to marry a real man. Someone who knows how to make a good living and give her everything she deserves. Not someone who'd rather throw a tantrum at work than just do his job. So, you think I should have done nothing when I was being mistreated at my job? You think I should have just kept quiet and let them walk all over me? Yes, because it would have been the smart thing to do. But you're not smart, are you? You're just a loser who doesn't deserve anything nice in life, especially not my daughter. And now she's earning all the money while you sit around doing nothing all day. That's not true. I've been actively trying to find a new job since I was fired, but it's not easy. No one's hiring right now. It's not like I can just magically make a new job appear. Get a real job. Something a real man would do. You know, walk into a shop, demand they hire you. But no, you'd rather sit around here, doing nothing. Her voice was thick with frustration, rising with each sentence. I'm done talking with you. And if you're so bothered about Julie and her money, why don't you get a job and help us out with the rent and bills? Because right now, all you do is mooch off of us. You don't pay any bills. You don't contribute to rent. You eat your fill, and you don't even bother with the household chores. You just leave a mess everywhere and expect me to clean up after you. The bitterness in her voice was cutting. Each word sharpened by months, maybe even years, of pent-up resentment. She couldn't contain the anger, the growing disgust she felt for him. He just stood there, his silence louder than any response he could have offered, almost as if he wasn't even hearing her anymore. I shouldn't be the one getting a job. I'm older than you. You should be supporting me, not the other way around, she spat, her voice dripping with entitlement, as if her age alone somehow justified her demands. She stared at him, expecting him to snap back, but he remained silent. It was like he had checked out of the argument entirely, barely even acknowledging her presence. Fine, I'm going, he muttered, finally turning away from her. I don't want to keep talking about this, especially not with your mother around. But before he could leave the room, she fired off one more shot. You can't keep running from this, she said, her voice lowering to a dangerous whisper. You're cheating on my daughter, and you'll have to face the consequences sooner or later. He stopped, his back still to her, and after a moment, he replied coldly, You know what? Fine. Do your worst. Oh, I will. Frustrated, he muttered under his breath as he reached for his phone. Messaging Julie. You need to tell your mom to stay out of our business. I've got her accusing me of cheating on you and saying that you're both planning to take me to court over it. Julie's response was immediate and sharp. Maybe you shouldn't be cheating on me then. For the last time, I'm not cheating on you, he shot back, his patience finally wearing thin. Your mom thinks she saw something, but it's not what she thinks it is. My mom knows what she saw, Julie replied coolly. And I'm more inclined to believe the woman who's taken care of me my whole life than a man who won't even get a job. Fine. If that's how you want it, then take me to court over this. Go ahead. But when you lose, don't come crying to me, he said, his anger barely concealed. And yes, I'll definitely be asking for a divorce. Fine by me. I don't want to be married to a loser who can't even hold down a job, she snapped. Later that day, when Julie returned home, her shock was palpable. She stood frozen on the sidewalk, staring at the sight before her. Her belongings and her mother's possessions all scattered outside the house. Her anger boiled over as she stormed inside. Shane, what the hell is going on? Why is all our stuff out here? Leaning against the doorframe with a casual smirk, Shane barely looked at her as he responded, Oh, that? I kicked you both out. Her eyes widened in disbelief. What do you mean? You kicked us out. You can't do that. Actually, I can, he said, his tone cold and resolute. The house is in my name, not yours. I can decide who lives here. And after everything you and your mother put me through, I've decided I don't want either of you here anymore. But this is my home, too, she cried, her voice trembling as the reality of the situation began to sink in. Too bad, he said, his smirk widening. You and your mother have been nothing but vile to me since she moved in. Why should I let either of you stay? Panic was now setting in and her voice softened, desperation creeping in. But we have nowhere to go. Maybe you should have thought about that before treating me like trash, he replied, his voice flat, unmoved by her pleas. Fine, she snapped, her pride flaring up again. Once we go to court for the divorce, I'll get the house. You'll see. I'll have it all soon enough. You can try, he said, shrugging as if it were all a minor inconvenience. But I think you'll be in for a disappointment. As the weeks passed, the tension escalated. The divorce hearing came and went. And when the final gavel fell, Julie found herself on the losing side, her face twisted with disbelief as she turned to Shane. What just happened? How did you win? I was the one cheated on. I should have gotten the house, He looked at her, calm and composed, the satisfaction of victory written all over his face. Like I told you before, I didn't cheat on you. Even the judge agreed. Then who was that woman? The one I saw you with, she demanded, still trying to piece together what had just unfolded. He chuckled, shaking his head. That was my union representative, Megan. She's been handling my case against my former employer. The company I used to work for was involved in some serious illegal practices. My case was just the tipping point. Her expression shifted as curiosity and dread mixed together. What do you mean? I mean, he said, his voice firm and confident, that my former company was under investigation long before I filed my complaint. They had to settle with me, and my settlement's in the 5-figure range. On top of that, I've been offered a new job as a lead engineer with a salary that'll set me up for life. Her eyes widened, a glint of desperation flashing through them. You're serious? That much money? He nodded, savoring her reaction. Yeah, a lot of money. Funny how things turn around, huh? Her face softened, shifting from anger to something more calculating. Well, now that you're in a better place, maybe we could work things out. I'll treat you better this time, I promise. I was just upset because you didn't have any money. You're the man. You should be the one making the money. The pity in his eyes was unmistakable, but there was no warmth behind it. The fact that you couldn't support me when I needed you the most says everything I need to know. Our wedding vows were supposed to mean something. They weren't just words. But you obviously didn't care about any of that. They don't really mean anything, she said, stumbling over her words, desperation leaking through. For better or worse, richer or poorer, those are just token phrases. They don't really matter. They matter to people who actually love each other, he replied softly. But that's not us anymore, is it? And I'm okay with that. I'm going to find someone who loves me for who I am, not for how much money I can bring home. Her face twisted in panic as she reached for him, but he was already walking away. Shane, wait. Please, don't do this. This isn't fair. Without turning back, he said, Goodbye, Julie. After the divorce was finalized, Shane felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He officially kicked Julie and her mother out of the house. And though he had to give her a small percentage of what he owned at the time, it was nothing compared to the settlement he received after the divorce was complete. His new job was thriving. He had made good friends at work, and the atmosphere was miles better than his old job. The company valued its employees, ensuring their safety and well-being, unlike the nightmare he had escaped. As for Julie and her mother, they had moved into a small apartment together, and Shane had heard they were struggling. Julie had to bear the full weight of their expenses, since her mother still refused to get a job. Their constant bickering had only worsened, but it was no longer Shane's concern. For the first time in a long while, Shane was happy. He had stood up for himself, and it had paid off. The future was brighter, and he knew that his life, without the toxicity of Julie and her mother, would only get better from here.